Hello, it's Bob Butera with Yoga Life Institute's meditation course, Lesson 5, Food for the Mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, on the teachings for meditation, there's a line that says, one will be successful in meditation, follow these certain guidelines, one of which is neither eat too much nor eat too little. In other words, have a balanced life. Your health needs to be somewhat stable in order for your mind to be quiet and for you to meditate. So we take this week to evaluate food. Now, I'm not going to sit here and preach the things that you would expect me to, which would say don't eat the bad food, don't take substances that alter your mind, right? That's obvious. The way I'd like to approach it is, again, non-dogmatic, puts the power in your hands, and also makes you responsible for your life, which you already are. So again, I'm not going to try to brainwash you. I'm going to ask you this one question. Notice how you feel after you consume something. Just notice how you feel. If it's correct that natural foods, whole foods in the right amounts, in the right combination that's good for your health are actually beneficial to you, then it'll prove its point, right? And you're the person whose body the food is going into who has the reactions to whatever the food is. It only makes sense. Somebody who has weak digestion of milk might not find milk helpful, and the next person might find it a great source of all kinds of minerals. So that's a foolproof way to take control. Now, the second area that I'd like to be somewhat broader than the average thinking is to apply yoga's definition of a human being to this concept of food, so that we're not just nourishing our physical body, but we're focusing on these 5 sheaths or 5 parts of a human being. They're called the koshas in the ancient yogic texts, and this is used a lot in yoga therapy. And one is the body, and then within the body is the breath. Then you have the emotions, the intellect, and the spirit. So if you take those 5 areas, notice how you feel after you feed each of those areas. So we talked about the food, the body one. Notice how you feel after you do deep breathing exercises. We've been doing them throughout the course. Many people say that breath is in fact the most important food for the body, because without it, in 4 minutes we die. So notice how you feel after a deep breathing exercise. See how it affects your mind. That's what I meant when I said notice how you feel. See how it focuses and stabilizes your mind. Then think of emotions. Think of a time when you were upset, how that affected you. Think of a time when you were excited, similar to the positive thinking that we talked about in the last lesson, versus feeling emotionally balanced and peaceful and harmonious. And notice how that affects your emotions. Then you can think of the intellect. If you watch a television program and you sit back, there may be an emotional component to it, there may be an intellectual component to it. How do you feel, before, during, after the program is a way of noticing if that program is suited to you. Anybody knows if you sit there in front of a television for long periods of time, or if you watch too many internet lectures like this, after a while, the intellect will tire if it's overstimulated. Likewise, if there's no direction, your intellect will feel very dull and almost depressed. The last area is the spirit. What type of spiritual food do you bring in? Now that touches on very personal issues. Obviously, religious groups will provide much spiritual food, close friendship, loving relationships, times in nature. However it is that you feel more spiritual, notice that. Notice what you're taking in that area. I think you'll find this very fascinating and extremely pivotal for quieting the mind. Now you can see, as we're at lesson 5, we're really starting to build some basic points, fundamental points that are essential for a quiet mind or a meditative mind. So enjoy this exploration with your food. I want to make sure that everybody heard me very clear. You're in control of it. I'm not trying to preach to you at all. The only thing I'm preaching is that you be aware of how things affect different parts of you. Enjoy your week. Hope the course is going great.